Alright guys, welcome back to another Pips forecast. It's your trading coach and mentor Joel Davis. And you know what time it is. It's time to break down these pairs and give you guys some insights on what to expect for the coming week. So with that said, let's jump into it, right? So we left off right here last week. This is the 4-hour time frame. Let's go to the 1-hour time frame. So last week we left off right here. I was saying we could expect a retest of this exhaustion zone right here, but overall, still aiming bearish. So what happened is that we had a gap down at market open. Let's adjust that fib. Right, so I had a steep retracement. So I had a gap down. Then I had a steep retracement. Back to that 61.8, right? And then from there, started to make lower highs, right? So coming next week, I'm just expecting, a continuation of those lower highs. So from where it is, we might see a retracement back to the MAs or back to this resistance right at that 23.6. And then, just overall continuation of that bearish move until we hit that negative 61.8. Yep, TP2, right? So that's what I'm looking for next week or this week on US 30. As long as the war continues, I'm bearish on US 30 and bullish on gold, right? Because of the whole uncertainty. So I'm looking for a break of that support. We might see a bounce and hit previous resistance, and then selling from there. All right, so let's delete that. Take a screenshot. So yeah, that's what I'm looking for next week on US 30. So on gold, I was expecting higher highs from here, but unfortunately that didn't happen, which is kind of odd because normally when US 30 goes down, gold goes up, but it's never really a good idea to depend on that correlation, right? Can't depend on that correlation 100% because overall gold is still bullish, right? Still bullish, and US 30 is still bearish, right? It's just that gold looks like it's consolidating, it's doing some sideways movement right now. So yeah, let's clean this up a bit. Let's remove this one. Left off right there last week. Try to make higher lows above that range right here, but didn't hold. On the daily, that would probably just be tested, right? So on the daily, we just tested a high, and right now I'm kind of just testing that low. Right, so on the daily, it's just still ranging right now. We have a fib from here to here based off the 4-hour time frame. So while we're still within this fib range, we're still bullish until we break that 100%. So let's give this one some time to develop. Overall, let me just draw it so we know that we're still bullish. It's just that we're ranging right now. So from where it's at right now, it could continue to make lower lows and lower highs all the way to that 100%. As long as we stay within that fib range, we're still maintaining our bullish bias, right? We'll still have our bullish bias. Let's put it at that 61.8 or within that range, Right, so yeah, that's what I'm looking for next week on gold. Take a screenshot of that. We have a thing right here, leaving off right there. GU. So on GU is we were expecting a breakout of that corner trend, but we're still making lower lows and lower highs. Looks like we did break that 100% now, did we? Yeah. Hmm. We get an average wick right here. Get an average wick right here. Still just tested, honestly. Still just tested, honestly. I gotta wait for another candle before we can change, or before I would change my bullish bias. That corner trend line, it looks like we're kind of struggling to break that corner trend line. Let's extend it some more. Extend this corner trend line right now. So I'll apply tip that bullish wick right here. Lock that in. So overall, we're still maintaining that, bearish pressure right now. Right. So last week, but even on not just looking at the moving averages, we can clearly see that, we have a lot of bearish pressure. We started to build up some bullish pressure right here, but it couldn't transition into that bullish momentum, right? So the bears are still in charge right here, still pushing down. Let's see if we're gonna break that corner trend, this average wick area right here on the daily. Let's remove this exhaustion zone. So it's from way back. Keep it current as possible. Keep it as current as possible. Let's clean it up a bit. Yeah, so we have on the daily we still have bullish momentum, right? Based off the moving averages, still have like a bullish cross. What else? What else? What else? Yeah, we're right there on the 100%. Right there on this 100% fib. Unlock that. Bring it across. Yeah, so I'll just give it like one more candle to see if we fully break that exhaustion zone. That even looks like a minor fib. Yeah, so that is even a minor fib. Let's see if we could clone this. Let's clone this, bring it down here and see what we have. Looks like we could be in a channel to some extent. Um, hmm. Okay, so I think I have a fib based off the weekly. So I have this huge bullish move, 38.2, 38.2. We had a corner trend line. Looks like it was just tested based off the weekly. So huge doji bearish. This bullish candle kind of went through the corner trend line, and then we had went bullish bearish, right? And now we're dropping. So are we going to retest the low of this channel, if it is a channel? So if it's a channel, we could possibly retest the low of the channel, right? So these would, up here would be the high, down here would be the low. However, we have like this huge, I would call this like a demand, huge demand zone down here. Somewhat of a demand is an exhaustion zone, depending on how you want to look at it. Let's clean that up a bit. Let's even remove it. Or should I keep it? Remove it or keep it? I'm going to keep it. So overall, weekly, we're bullish. Looks like we're in somewhat of a channel. We could potentially keep dropping. Keep dropping until we hit the lows of the channel. Okay, I'll be definitely watching GU. Especially like how now I'm trading GJ. I'm gonna keep an eye on GU, but it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good, honestly. We had a bounce right here. Right here could be A, B, and right here could possibly be a C. We had A, B, right here's a C. Based off the weeklies, a lot much cleaner than what we're seeing right now on this time frame, the daily time frame. But we could drop from here, hit right here, and then bounce from here all the way back up. So that's something to look out for. But overall, on our bias is still bullish, right? We're just on a corner trend. So we still have to hit that negative 27 up here and that negative 61 up here. But this channel looks really good. So I'm going to screenshot this. Leaving off right here. Slot this in. Like that in. That looks really good. Definitely going to watch out for GU this week. Next on the list, GJ. I traded this week. Trust me, it was beautiful. It was a great week for G. Anybody trading GJ was a good week. Pretty sure, man. Pretty sure. So this was my analysis from last week. Let's jump down to the 1 hour time frame. So I was saying, wait for a break. No, I was saying wait for a retest of this level. But possibly you could not get a retest, but like a higher low. But what happened, we gapped down and then we came back up and then we created a higher low, right? So what I was doing this week, I was just buying all those higher lows, honestly, making like 60 pips plus. So right here, average wick. This is how I played it all week. Right here again, average wick. Up here again, average wick. Hit that shift. Yeah, so I was risking about 20 pips, making about 60 pips thereabout, honestly. And these were like some really good moves. Really good moves on GJ. So I realized that this thing like to like retest. So as soon as it created a support, I just used a buy limit. So I was using a buy limit, came out down, triggered, pushed up. It created a support, saw that it was struggling. Buy limit, hit that, pushed off. Created a support. Buy limit, came out down, pushed off. And then created a support up here. And then we kind of, I was done. After winning these 3 trades, I was kind of satisfied for the week. I was waiting for a retest of this level, because from here to here was just like 80 pips. I didn't catch all of it. I think I got out at like, so after I made this support here, so to push up again, I got out a little bit above the previous high, and I just call it a day. And then I started to see it drop, and I was waiting for, the retest of this level right here. What it was like Friday. I think it was Friday or Thursday. I'm not quite sure. But when I look back at it, it would already drop all the way down. I'm like, shit, fuck it. But anyways, that's how I traded GJ this week. It was pretty good for my first time trading it. Right. Smooth trading, right? So coming next week, I can see that we're back at this support level. And like I said, this thing like to retest support. It likes to retest those form support, those previous support and resistance levels. So those highs and those higher lows or whatever, it like to really respect those levels. And then when it hit those levels, it like to retest them a lot, right? Hmm, what's happening? Get an average wick right here. It looks very different than what I have on my trade locker. But all right here, based off this time frame, let's see. Tested. Yeah, all right here, just tested. Let's cut 4 hour. Yeah, I think I was looking at it based off the 4 hour time frame. So if you draw a fib from right here, I just look at this as just like one push. So you could draw a fib from right here. Overall, we have bullish momentum already. That's pretty obvious. This is just a 50% retrace that lines up with a previous high. It didn't respect that previous high on the way down. So, we could potentially, have a bullish move all the way retracing this entire candle because there's not much resistance on this push down. So we could just recover all the way back up. So the first target right there is that -27, then that -61.8. Not the right thing. Based off, I think this would be like a minor fib. Keep doing bullshit. Yeah, so I'm looking for the market to bounce from here and then push all the way back up, create higher highs. Create a higher high. Let's lock this in. So right on the moving averages, right on the previous high and a 50% fib. Retrace, so there's a lot of confluence around there. High highs, high lows, high highs, high lows. First target, right? So that's what I'm looking for on GJ. It even looks like we have some type of trend line from that here. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Could clean it up a bit. So we had a bounce right here. Let's do this wick. These two bearish wicks. So the first bearish wick right here, and the second one. What time frame is this? For just break it down a bit. I'm on my tablet, so I don't really have much real estate working with. I'm gonna do it on the 4 hour time frame. But it looks pretty good. Let's go from here to here and then drag that out. So all right here could just be looked at as tested. Alright. If you jump up to that daily time frame, would probably look a lot cleaner. No, not really. It's too high. 4 hour time frame is good. Yeah, so I'm looking for a bounce. Looking for this trend line to maintain. Break that down to like a 1 hour time frame. We already got like a bullish engulfing candle right here. So like I said, this thing like to bounce around support areas. So I'm just looking for it to push from there. Probably just enter as market open. That's another thing. This thing opens in session. This thing actually opens in session, right? So yeah, that's it for what That's it for GJ. Leaving off right here, looking for the market to bounce from right here, and start making higher highs and higher lows. Not much resistance based off this drop. I think we could just recover all of that move and then make higher highs. So let me take a screenshot of this. Next up on the list is, who's this? AU. Looks like we got that move that we were expecting. So left off right here last week. We had a gap down at market open. Still maintain the overall support down here. Still maintain, what time frame is this? Forward time frame. Still maintain the overall support down here. So still maintain the overall support from down here. Yeah, so bounce, then we came up. What we were aiming for was that break and retest of that color trend line. We did get that. Get a little bit more details going. So we did get the break and the retest, and then we got that push. However, we didn't hit that negative 27. We reversed, right? It's like we did a 360 there. So reverse, then we started making lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. Back to the support. Let's see if this support is going to maintain or we're going to break it, right? So coming next week, we're just going to keep that. I think I'm going to remove this corner trend line. Yep. Remove that corner trend line. We did try to bounce right here. I think I'm going to keep that support level. Extend this a bit. I think I'm going to keep that support level right there. Extend this support as well. All right, so coming next week, I want to see if this support is going to hold or we're going to break. Or we're going to go back to that 38.2, but I'm going to still keep this fib because it still didn't hit that negative 27 or that negative 61.8 as yet. So what I want to see next week, it looks like this one also looks like a channel. Let's see, get like a trend line from down here. Okay, let's do the top first. Let's remove this. That's old. It's old news. Maybe the daily. Yeah, that kind of looks good. About 4 hour time frame. Yeah, something like that, right? Let's lock this in. Right, so we had a bounce back, several bounce, so a bounce right here, bounce right here, bounce right there. Hit the highs, main support, hit the highs, broke the support, hit the lows. Try to retest the highs, bounce off the MAs, made a lower high, hit the support, push up, and now we're back down, right? So look out for that channel. Look out for that channel. It looks pretty good. Could bounce. So the low of that channel kind of lines up with that support that we had drawn before. So we're gonna see if we're gonna break that and make a lower high and then break that 38.2, or we're gonna bounce from there and go back to the high. So we're just watching like the lower time frames to see we could possibly track this bearish pressure with a corner trend line. Looks kind of steep. Let's go down to the 15-minute. Yeah, I'm not gonna force it, but it's possible. Um, get out my way. Yeah, so I'll just wait for the moving averages to start running up, because this is showing like a nice clean bearish flow. So I'll just wait for my lot this in, wait for the price, wait for the market to break above the MAs on at least a 15-minute and break that corner trend line before I start buying again. But yeah, the channel doesn't look too bad. I'll just wait for more confirmation. So let's draw that out. So at least 30-minute time frame. Can kind of see that trying to do that. So break, high low, high, high low, back to the highs of the channel. So the channel, then the top is right there. So yeah, that's what I'm looking for on AU for the coming weeks. Let's put something right there, that circle. Screenshot. Cool, cool, cool. Last but not least, who's this? UJ, right? So UJ was kind of, probably the only one that was consistent all week. GJ was pretty consistent, just that it dropped at the end of the week. US30 was pretty consistent, it just went up. On the first half of the week, had like a really steep retracement, and then it kind of went back on the bearish trend. But UJ just keep going, right? Keep going, keep going. Anybody who's trading UJ should be making a lot of money. No excuses. So we left off right here last week. I was saying, expect higher highs and higher lows. We kind of had a retracement here. So first we hit the negative 27. That's like the first thing to take note of right there. So after that, you could have maintained the same fib because we didn't hit the negative 61.8. Could maintain that same fib, or you could have drawn a new fib, whichever, don't really matter. But now we're gonna draw a new fib because we did hit that negative 61.8. But how you could have played this, if you want to know that, you gotta join my course. I ain't going over that right now. So next week, let's go to remove that. So next week I'm just gonna draw a new fib. I'm just gonna draw a new fib from that bullish engulfing to where it's at right now. Now this fib is not valid, so shut the fuck up, because we haven't had that bearish retracement as yet. This thing could still keep on going, but just for argument's sake, let's say we start to retrace from there, we can expect at least a 38.2 based off the exhaustion back here, or down or a steep retracement back at that 78.6 where the MAs are, and So coming next week, wait for the fucking pullback, right? And let's say we get a bounce of the 38.2. I want to see some type of pause and then a break of that resistance, and then higher lows and higher highs. Try to hit that negative 27, right? So yeah, that's it for this week's pips forecast, guys. Hopefully you guys got some insights from this video. Leave a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe. It's free. Leave some feedback, I'd really appreciate that. What else? Yeah, have a good week. Peace.